In a small village, surrounded by hills and rice fields, lived a poor young boy named Veer. Ever since he was a child, Veer had only one dream. He wanted to leave the village. Unlike most boys who loved their village life, Veer felt trapped. He looked at the dusty roads, the old houses, and the endless fields, and believed that nothing important could ever happen there. Whenever he saw buses heading toward the city, he imagined a better future waiting for him. One day, he would tell his friends, "I'll leave this place forever." His father was a farmer. His mother sold vegetables in the local market. Life was simple, but Veer wanted something bigger. He dreamed of becoming rich and successful in a large city. Every night, he watched videos about skyscrapers, luxury cars, and successful businessmen. The city seemed like a paradise. The village seemed like a prison. After finishing school, Veer finally got an opportunity. A distant relative offered him a small job in a city hundreds of kilometers away. The salary wasn't huge, but it was enough to begin a new life. Veer was thrilled. He packed his clothes weeks in advance. He told everyone that his future was finally beginning. His parents were happy for him, though they would miss him terribly. The entire village gathered to wish him good luck. Everything seemed perfect. But 3 days before his departure, disaster struck. A severe fever left Veer bedridden. At first, everyone thought it was a minor illness, but the fever continued. The doctor ordered complete rest. Travel was impossible. The job offer expired. Someone else was hired. Veer was devastated. For days, he stared at the ceiling. He felt angry. Angry at fate. Angry at his circumstances. Angry at God. Why now? He kept asking. After waiting so many years, why would this happen? His friends tried to comfort him. His parents encouraged him, but nothing helped. The dream he had carried for years disappeared overnight. Weeks later, the fever finally passed. Physically, he recovered. Emotionally, he did not. Life returned to normal, or so he thought. One evening, while helping his father in the fields, Veer noticed something strange. A section of crops was drying despite regular watering. The problem puzzled everyone. The village had faced similar issues before. Many farmers lost crops every year because they couldn't identify irrigation problems early enough. Curious, Veer began investigating. Day after day, he studied the fields. He asked questions. He observed water flow patterns. He read agricultural articles online. The more he learned, the more interested he became. Soon, he started helping neighboring farmers diagnose problems. What began as curiosity slowly became a passion. Months later, Veer designed a simple, low-cost monitoring system using inexpensive materials and a second-hand smartphone. The device helped farmers identify irrigation issues before crops were damaged. The results were remarkable. Crop losses decreased significantly. Farmers saved money. Yields improved. Word spread quickly. Nearby villages wanted the same solution. Then, district officials heard about it. Then, agricultural experts. Then, local news channels. Suddenly, people who had never heard of Veer were talking about his innovation. One day, he received an invitation to present his work at a state agricultural conference. Nervous but excited, he attended. His presentation attracted significant attention. Several experts were impressed. After listening to Veer's story, one of them made an unexpected offer. The program would provide funding, mentorship, and training to help him develop his ideas further. Veer could hardly believe it. A year later, he was working with engineers, scientists, and agricultural specialists. His simple village project evolved into advanced farming solutions that helped communities across the country. Thousands of farmers benefited. His work gained national recognition. Awards followed. Interviews followed. Success followed. But the greatest moment came several years later. Veer returned to his village to inaugurate a new agricultural training center. The center would educate young farmers and introduce modern techniques. As he stood on the stage, surrounded by villagers, he noticed his old school, the familiar fields, and the dusty roads he once hated. Suddenly, memories flooded back. The fever, the lost job, the broken dream, the anger, the disappointment. For years, he had viewed that illness as the worst thing that ever happened to him. But now he realized something. If he had boarded that bus to the city, he would have lived an ordinary life, working an ordinary job. There was nothing wrong with that path, but it wasn't the path God had chosen. The illness that seemed like a setback had actually kept him exactly where he needed to be. The dream that failed had made room for a greater purpose. Tears filled his eyes as he looked across the village. The place he once wanted to escape had become the place where he discovered his calling. He learned that God gives us what we need, not what we want. That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Veer walked through the fields alone. The golden light covered the land like a blessing. He smiled and whispered, "Thank you." Not for the success, not for the awards, not for the recognition, but for the unanswered prayer. Because sometimes the prayers God doesn't answer are the very ones that protect our future. Sometimes the road we desperately want is too small for the purpose God has planned. And sometimes what looks like a delay is actually divine direction. When our plans fail, it doesn't mean God has forgotten us. It may simply mean that He sees a bigger picture than we do. A picture that only becomes clear when we trust Him enough to keep moving forward. Because God's plans are not just different from ours. They are often far greater than anything we could have imagined. And perhaps, just like Veer, one day you'll look back and realize that what seemed like a setback was actually a blessing in disguise. Remember, a closed door is not always the end of the journey. Sometimes it's the beginning of a better one. If this story inspired you, share this video with someone who may need hope today. And if you enjoy motivational stories like this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more life-changing stories. Until next time, keep believing, keep moving forward, and trust that God has a greater plan for your life.